Let's see if today is the day where Joe Rogan finally pulls the ripcord. Joe Rogan reacts to the Minneapolis shooting and ICE riots. Now, first statement out of the gates is, let's see if it's complimentary to the administration still, or maybe he's finally pulling off the exit ramp.
It's complicated, obviously, but it's also
okay, never mind.
Very ugly to watch someone shoot a U.S. citizen, especially a woman, in the face.
Right.
Where it's like, I'm not that guy. I don't know what he thought. And again, this is a guy who had almost been run over, but it just looked horrific to me. I mean, when people say it's justifiable because the car hit him, it seemed like she was kind of turning the car away. It seemed like she was out of her mind to begin with. That lady seemed crazy.
Oh, my God. He is still in the cult, dude. Joe Rogan, even 5 years ago, would look at the situation and be like, nah, this is completely fucked up. Straight up. He is so gone that he's still trying to defend the indefensible.
Right? And didn't she move there specifically to get involved in all this?
Yeah, I don't know.
She didn't seem mentally healthy. But does that mean she should be shot in the head? Is there no other way to handle this? But and then you got these people that are showing.
Oh yeah, she was mentally unhealthy. Shut the fuck up, you bald ass bitch. God
Up
damn.
at these ICE people and they're blocking traffic, and she was one of them that was doing those kind of things where they think they're an activist and they're an agitator.
Right, but I get back to my initial sort of argument about having local police do it. They're not doing it, but in an ideal world, the way we fix this and have less ICE agents in cities where they're having a very difficult job is the local people do their job and they're not sanctuary cities.
Well, how could you stop sanctuary cities?
Well, I'm not
Is it
sure I
legal?
can. What I'm saying is that some of the blame for ICE being there is the left and their policies of sanctuary cities.
Right.
So when they want to just say, oh, we hate ICE and we don't want to.
Dude, aren't you a libertarian? What the f are you saying? I thought this motherfucker was a libertarian, like Mr. Freedom of Movement. What the hell? What kind of libertarian looks to justify police brutality and also gets annoyed at the fact that, you know, there is even a sanctuary city to begin with? Bro is bootlicking. He's only a libertarian when it comes to taxes and age of consent.
ICE in our city, maybe they should be reflecting that ICE is in your city because you're disobeying the law. And when someone is arrested and they're clearly not.
Come on, brother. Jesus Christ. Libertarians that argue on whether or not there needs to be a driver's license, going on the Joe Rogan Experience and talking about how, well, if the state punishes you with the oppressive force of militarized ICE units, then you were basically asking for it. What the God damn, dude. Mr. Don't Tread on Me over here talking about how, well, sometimes treading is fine. Tread on me a little bit. Maybe I was asking for it. Also, the state has a monopoly on violence, and that's why seatbelt laws should be unenforceable. Where you at, dude? Mr. Tread on Me Daddy.
Not a citizen, you're not reporting them to ICE. See, it's defiance, it's nullification. They have been nullifying our laws on deportation for years and years, and so now they have something they really dislike. But who brought it upon? My point is the left brought this. It's not an answer, but it's an explanation that the left is.
Rand Paul, as he's getting his ass beat by his neighbor that leads over a dispute over their lawn care. He goes, you're violating the non-aggression principle. Don't you know? You are not supposed to be violating my non-aggression principle by slamming your fist into my chest. Please, stop. I guess he was also asking for it in the same way that the good people, the American citizens, the good people of Minneapolis, Minnesota were asking for ICE. What happened to Knapp, dude?
Bringing this to their cities because they're refusing to enforce the laws.
Right, and they don't want those laws. They don't like those laws. They think that once people...
Wait, did that happen? Yes. Rand Paul's neighbor came into his house and violated the non-aggression principle by beating his ass in an orderly bout of fisticuffs, okay? He broke his ribs. And the reason for why they fought was because he was not like... I think he wasn't clearing his leaves or something, and his neighbor got so mad that he walked into his house and beat his ass. Yeah, over raking leaves. Unfortunately, there was no video. Rand Paul is saying that local authorities need to enforce immigration law. He's just lying about sanctuary cities.
people here, they should be able to stay. And, this is what my friend Gad Saad calls suicidal empathy.
Yep.
I think,
follow him.
And I think there's a balance.
It is suicidal empathy to allow Gad Saad to exist in the Western world, honestly. That is true. He should go live in his favorite country, Israel, instead.
Achieved. I just don't know how it gets done. Because I see both perspectives. I see the perspective of the people that say, hey, there was an illegal program moving people in here to get votes, moving people in here to get congressional seats, and we've got to change that. We've got to take those people that got in and send them back to where they came from or do something. Because if we don't, they're going to keep doing it if they get in office again in 2028, and it's going to accelerate. And you're going to have to take away some of the damage that's been done to a true democratic system because you've kind of hijacked it, and they kind of have. And then
Does being bald cook your brain? I mean, how do you explain the existence of Northern Lion then? You can't. Anti-bald advocates have no justification or explanation for Northern Lion, who is a wise sage, wise beyond his years, and yet he is bald. Or Slime. Or Lenin, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, famous balds. As you guys know, I'm a bald fetishist, so don't come at me with bald slander. Joe is just a regular old dumbass.
I also see the point of view of the people that say, yeah, but you don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
Yes. The answer is yes, dumbass. And a big part of the yes is because you knew that was going to happen. Donald Trump campaigned on this, and you endorsed him. So, yeah, that is where we're at, and you endorsed him. It's not like he was hiding this. He kept saying it. He kept saying it over and over again. He kept saying, "Oh, we're gonna do the Bracero program reversal, just like old administrations did. We're gonna deport every Mexican." How do you pull that off logistically? Of course you're going to do papers, please, over and over again in American streets. You wanted it, Joe. Now that it's happening, it seems like you don't like it. But instead of recognizing that you have buyer's remorse, you still try to find like a wishy-washy, both sides-ist attitude here, somehow finding a way to blame this on the left. God damn, dude.
So it's more complicated than I think people want to admit. People want to look at this as a black and white issue, if you're a compassionate person or if you're a pragmatic person. And I don't think that's true. I think it's both. I mean, I think after that woman was shot, I think, unfortunately, everything's unfortunate about it, right? But one of the real problems is now ICE are villains. And now people are looking at them like murderous military people that are on the streets of our city, and they're masked up, which is also a problem, right? Because if you get arrested by a cop, you're allowed to ask the cop, what is your name and badge number? And you could film that cop. If you get arrested by an ICE agent, you have no such right. They're wearing a mask. They don't have to tell you. That's a problem on our city streets, right? Because you could also pretend to be an ICE agent.
Right.
So I saw this terrible story about this family that was killed where these guys pretended to be a UPS driver. And they showed up and they made their way into the house and killed people because they were dressed up as a UPS driver. If you could pretend to be a UPS driver, for sure you could pretend to be an ICE agent, especially since they're completely anonymous. So think about how many people can get arrested or robbed or by criminals.
Wow. What? Wow, Joe. He's figuring it out. Now he's realizing why it's bad to have public servants that are in plain clothes going around asking people for their paperwork. Oh my God, wait till he finds out that this has already happened. There have been cases of people claiming to be ICE agents trying to rape people, as a matter of fact. Wow, Joe, you're a big boy, Joe. Next week, he's going to figure out that this is actually bad. He's showing signs of intelligence, guys. I mean, it took him a while to get here, but hey, he's getting here. Wow.
Right? Because you could just have people pretending they're like, it's not like it's impossible to fake their logo. Right? It's pretty easy. It just says ICE. How hard is that? You could easily imagine armed gangs pretending to be ICE agents robbing people.
Yeah, I think you could make an argument when you're working right along the border or at night with large groups that there's a lawlessness to the cartels that hiding the identities of ICE along the border. It's a little harder to make the argument, and I saw this image in a courthouse in Chicago where it's a big elevator and the ICE agents all have masks on and they're arresting people, and it's all women and children in a big elevator in a courthouse. It's like, really? I don't think you really need to be wearing a mask.
Well, they're worried
in the
about being
courthouse.
doxxed, and they're finding that happening.
But our local police have to do that, and they don't wear masks. You see what I mean? The local police go to the courthouse to arrest somebody, or the bright lights of the city during the day.
But again, the local police have to state their name and badge number. The local police have always been here.
Right.
The ICE element is completely new.
Right. I'm saying,
or at least at this scale.
I'm saying that for most of the regular arrests, you probably don't need to have them wearing masks. That's what I'm saying.
The problem is once they don't wear a mask, then they're going to get doxxed, and people have actively doxxed them and threatened their families.
Shut
Local police bitch. They're public servants. Suck my dick. They're public servants.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Local police don't
Right,
wear
but the
masks.
police have always been there, and police are there for a reason. If you call the police, if someone's breaking into your house, you're assuming the police are going to come. You don't call ICE because you don't self-report. You don't say, "Oh, I'm having an issue with some immigrants. Let me call ICE." No, they're a new factor in the community,
right?
And they're wearing masks. That's a big difference. It's not the same comparison. Like most people, except the kooky people that went nutty during 2020 after the George Floyd riots, that were like, defund the police. Like,
right.
And boy, did they change their tune as soon as they started getting riots and their buildings burned down. They're like, where's the police? Well, you've defunded them, stupid. Most people believe that crime is awful and you can't have murderers and armed robbers roaming the street. You should arrest them. And you're going to need police officers to do that. But those same people that believe that might also believe that once someone
I love that Joe Rogan literally admits in defense of ICE, in the process of defending ICE in the stupidest way possible, he just admits that ICE actually doesn't serve the same law enforcement purpose that cops do. That's awesome. He literally realizes exactly why people are frustrated with ICE. Now, obviously, in the same process, he ends up saying a whole bunch of nonsense like, oh, the police were defunded, blah, 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 all this shit that's not real. But yeah, that's kind of the point. Police have always been there, so no mask is so stupid. Why do you even pay attention to idiots like Joe Rogan and his ilk? I don't know, brother. Maybe because he got thanked personally by the president for winning the election. And unfortunately, have you seen this country? Have you seen the dumbasses in this goddamn nation? Who do you think those dumbasses go to get their takes? Watching Joe Rogan is no different than watching Fox News. I know it's stupid. In some ways, it's kind of like watching Asmongold. I know it's frustrating. It's stupid. He doesn't know what he's saying, but it doesn't matter. A lot of other dumbasses that are even dumber than the person that we're watching believe that these guys are actually smart. They get their talking points from people like this. So in order to address the talking points, you got to go to the root cause. Where these talking points are coming from. Yeah, we used to do this all the time. It was called hogwatch.
Is here, they should be able to stay in this country, and ICE is operating illegally, and we shouldn't have militarized groups of people roaming the streets, just showing up with masks on, snatching people up, some of them U.S. citizens, and shipping them to countries they didn't even come from. So that's why they have to wear a mask. If you want them to do that job, if you want them to be able to deport 500,000 people over a year, which is a lot of people, if that's the real number, they're going to be their life's going to be at stake. Yep. You're not going to be able to get people to do the job unless you allow them to be anonymous. And then, again,
brother, what the fuck? So you're recognizing the cruelty and how insane it is, but then you're defending it like, oh, well, these Nazis have to literally hide their identity. Otherwise, the Jewish partisans are going to kill them. Like, what is this? The pro-Holocaust position? What the fuck? He said, I'm evil and I like bad things. I am a fan of evil. I am an evildoer, and I like when others are doing more evil. And sometimes you got to let the evildoers do the evil shit, even if I recognize it's bad and wrong. Awesome.
Allowing them to be anonymous creates a whole host of other problems where you could have people pretend to be them, and how would you know who's who and who's not?
Some people have offered sort of an in-between where they wear badges that have a number or a first name on them, such that when you're arrested, if I think you've abused my rights in arresting me, Steve and a number 324.
People are going to dox them instantaneously. Their face will be on the internet instantaneously. They'll make lists. They'll put it on social media.
Wow, if only there was an alternative here. They're doing the liberal compromise position, by the way. I guess this is woke 2 for these guys. Woke 2 is back, and these guys have found the liberal compromise position all on their own, Hey, it's not the mass apprehensions that are the problem. It's just that they're not doing mass deportation the right way. Okay, how about no mass deportation if it's for no real purpose? We've already decided. We've dug in too deep. Our heels are dug. You don't understand. We got to do some mass deportations, okay? But at least, don't wear a mask while you're doing it. Even though I do understand why you have to wear a mask, because it's an abject, cruel thing to do, and bad and wrong.
Media sites.